to grow this year, but experts say we should expect a slower pace than 2021. Today, the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation released its latest housing market outlook. Analysts expect demand to continue increasing through 2022. However, note that in coming years, we could see some downward pressure with mortgage rates expected to rise. Michael Mack is a senior analyst with CMHC, joins us now live to talk about this. Let's take this in 3 steps, Michael. Starting with what's going to push that overall growth that your group continue to see this year?
Right. So part of that is really based on the low mortgage earlier in the year. That should boost that support in sales and housing activity. However, continuing on, we do see that Calgary has recovered significantly, both economically and also in the employment sector, and that the unemployment rate, of course, is reaching before pandemic levels.
We just did a whole series on this, actually, people choosing to build new. What are we expecting to see on that front of things this year?
Right, so we do expect continued elevated construction activity this year and into the next few years as this demand keeps continuing to exist in Calgary. With that said, of course, we do have an eye out on things like the supply chain issue and increasing mortgage rates, which do provide a downward pressure on housing starts.
Also, obviously, more people heading back to work, especially in the core, with people bringing, or companies rather, bringing people back into the office. What could we see when it comes to the rental market here in Calgary in 2022 as we move forward?
Right, so as we saw in 2021, the rental market has tightened a bit from the lows in 2020. We saw that vacancy rates have dropped. So we will expect to see that continue on into 2022. And of course, with more units coming online, with people moving back into the city, and with newer buildings coming on to the market, the average rental rate will be expected to increase.
There's been so much talk about housing prices in large cities like Vancouver, Toronto. Will that have any impact on Calgary? Would people, for example, maybe start looking here if they're priced out of those markets?
Right. So, of course, Calgary, relatively speaking, is still, not as hot as places like Vancouver and Toronto. And, of course, that does impact a lot of people's budget. So that is baked into the forecast where we do see migration zooming into Alberta so that those people from Ontario, from BC, might come to Calgary to seek, relatively more affordable housing.
I got 30 seconds left, so final word here. If we were to describe the state of the housing market in 2022 and beyond for Calgary, what would your few sentences be on that?
Well, I think in the coming future, the housing will be a lot different what we saw in the 2015 to 2019 period, where there will be a lot more housing activity, both in sales and starts.
All right, Michael Mack, thank you so much for your insight this afternoon. Well, still ahead, one person's garbage is another person